Sports Media? Welcome back to another podcast type kind of a analysis of a fight coming up. We got UFC card 287 coming to Miami this Saturday, and we're all excited, right? It's going to be awesome. But first, let's get to our guest. Again, he's been on our channel multiple times. Owen, what's going on, brother?
What's up, guys? Can't wait for this card. Can't wait to talk to you guys about these fights.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, me too. I'm hyped. I'm really hyped. And this is a card where, I'll say it real quick, that you have Izzy 5 months after he got defeated is ready to come back. And there's a bunch of bangers on this card. A lot of fights did get canceled. And Owen can even touch up on that a little bit. I made some announcements on our Twitter for it and whatnot. But yeah, there was some fights canceled, but and another fighter's hopped up and they're ready to go. For further ado, let's turn it to Owen. Owen, start where you want, man. Some fights you're looking forward to. What do you think, man?
I think what everybody's looking the most forward to is the main event. Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Alex Pereira is just meant for this. Meant to beat Izzy. You put him up against anybody else, he might lose that fight. But Izzy, he just seems like the Terminator.
Yeah.
I love the guy, honestly. I've been his first fight in the UFC, flying knee on Andreas Michailidis. That was beautiful at 268. I don't know. He's just been great ever since. Went to war with Bruno Silva, and then obviously absolutely slept Sean Strickland, going on to also knock out Israel Adesanya. I saw and I don't know what you guys think about the stoppage. There was controversy about the last fight. For me personally, I thought it was a warranted stoppage. Israel looked completely out on his feet, and there was enough time in the round that I think Alex would have finished him off. But it was a great fight. And I can't wait for this one, the rematch.
Yeah, on the stoppage, I would say it was a good stoppage in the matter of how far do you want it to go? Do you want to see Israel Adesanya, this guy who's dominated this division, get flatlined? If there's 15, they goes 15 more seconds, you got to assume a jab or a hook is going to land from Poatan, and he's gonna knock him out right there and then. Do you want him cold on the canvas or live to fight another day rematch? That's kind of where I was coming from with the stoppage. I posted on Twitter to get some opinions, and like you said, Owen, you commented, you said perfect stoppage, and I think that's a textbook stoppage. I really do. Drew, what do you think about the stoppage?
Right. I'm definitely gonna have to agree. That was he was landing consecutive hard shots that were doing damage, and the champ at the time didn't look like he was really had too much to answer for it. And I feel like the only thing that was going to happen next was that he was just going to get put out. And I feel like it was a warranted stoppage.
Definitely. But
Agree. Yeah.
Owen, before we get in the main card, and that's mostly what we're talking about is the main card, we do have a segment coming up after this with Owen because he's great. He's going to go over a lot of the fights and his picks. But when you're looking at the prelims or early prelims, Owen, give us some fights you're looking forward to.
See, I'm in love with this card. Top to bottom, it's got fights all the way through that are absolute bangers. My boy Ignacio Bahamondes is back on the card. He's stepping up a short notice opponent against Trey Ogden, who's supposed to fight the last fight card, I believe.
San Antonio, and his fight got canceled. Right, okay.
So I do think it's great that the UFC was giving Trey an opportunity like that for him to step up, obviously after having a fight canceled. But I'm all over Ignacio here. I'm a huge fan. He's got crisp striking. He's big, he's tall, he's lanky, beautiful kicks, decent grappling game. I love the guy. I don't know. They're putting it at 160-pound catch weight. Because I don't know, I can't really fault Ogden for going through a cut like that and then having to turn around 2 weeks later. So definitely understand that. But that's a banger. Definitely look out for that one. You got former top of the division ladies fighting in the prelims. You got Cynthia Calvillo and Michelle Watterson, the karate hottie, fighting on this card. Obviously not against each other, but those are also fighters to look out for. Honestly, throughout the whole card, you've got bangers. And we did, talking about the canceled fights, we did miss out, unfortunately, on Biggie on the big boy Chris Barnett. I think everybody would have loved to see those dance moves.
But Carl Williams coming right in for it. He looked. UFC's pushing him, Owen. I would say, right?
Yeah, I think he's coming in to take out the trash. I think he climbed to a -500 favorite right now. It's not a good matchup for Chase Sherman. I don't think he's out of this fight at all, and it's going to be a fun fight. But it's Carl Williams, even on short notice. It just seems like he's gonna do it.
Yeah. Real quick question for you, Owen. Being we've seen that Chris Curtis versus Kevin Gastelum, there was a little bit of controversy that Chris Curtis was upset that Raul Rosas Jr. and Christian Rodriguez had gotten in the main card over him. What do you think about that?
I think Raul's catching a lot of flack purely because of his age. I mean, I know Bo Nickel caught some of the same flack, but I think less than Raul did because he jumped people on his card up to the main when he fought Jamie Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have an issue with it. I do think that it, like, objectively, it makes more sense for Curtis versus Gastelum to be on the main card, and that is a banger of a fight in its own right. But I do understand why they want to push Raul Rosas Jr. 7-0, 18 years old. But I feel like his opponent, Christian Rodriguez, is being looked over a lot. I mean, he's got real nasty submissions, great grappling. It's a real great fight. I'm still going Raul. I'm pretty high riding on him. I think I saw, he barely had to cut any weight for his last fight. I think you tweeted that out as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, the guy's a phenom for his age. He's looking great. And obviously with people like Bo Nickel and with people like Raul Rosas Jr., the UFC is going to do what they can to kind of skyrocket them by putting them on these pay-per-view cards, by putting them up on the main card to bring more eyes to them. And that's really how you build a star for somebody, I mean, who they are trying to push as the youngest UFC champion in history.
Yeah, no, definitely. They are pushing him. And I don't mind it. He's so young. He's already, the youngest. He has he won being the youngest fighter ever to actually get a win in the UFC, which is really impressive and whatnot. I mean, do you have a problem with pushing him?
He got the new minivan. He's got a little bit of a hype behind him.
Yeah,
I see what's going on. Like,
it's all right.
No, I don't have a problem with it. He's got like a high ceiling. I can see putting him up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and transitioning into that fight itself, Owen. I'm looking at it. I'm saying, right away, I'm saying that Raul Rosas has the advantage when it comes to the grappling. Obviously, I see Rod. You can't obviously doubt his grappling, but I think Raul, if he has like 17 minutes of control or 14 minutes of control time and 17 minutes of time in a cage, which is extremely impressive coming from Raul Rosas Jr. So if this fight goes to the ground, obviously I think it'll stay on the ground and Raul will get the win. I think for C-Rod, the biggest thing for him is landing some, defending the takedowns, keeping everything up the middle, and using his striking. Owen, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think there's going to be a lot. I think honestly, there's going to be a lot more action on the feet than people expect. I think we are going to get to see some of Raul's striking. But I don't know if this fight goes to the decision. I mean, they're both clinical finishers. I think they're both going to look to put out the fire of the other one. And I mean, Christian Rodriguez isn't really a hyped prospect or anything. He's got a decent resume in his own right, and he looks great when he's fighting. But I do think they're both coming in there with a chip on their shoulder. Obviously, Raul being the youngest in the UFC, saying, I want to be 135 champ, 145 champ, and 155 champ. He's got these huge aspirations. He's going to come in there 1,000 miles a minute, going to try to steamroll his opponent. Meanwhile, Christian Rodriguez is going to be kind of wanted to take the new dog off the block, right? He's got something to prove that he's better than these people that they're trying to push on him. He knows that he's being set up to lose. And I think he understands that. It's the same as you talk about with Jamie Pickett. They understand those things. But I do think Christian Rodriguez has a much better chance than Jamie Pickett did.
And next, we have the Kevin Holland, the Trailblazer coming out, coming to fight Ponzinibbio. I'm personally, I think me and you both, I'm a really big Trailblazer fan. I love Kevin Holland. I don't know. I know he's coming off that tough loss to Wonderboy. But nonetheless, I really do like Kevin Holland. And I know you like Kevin Holland too, right?
He's definitely entertaining.
He's entertaining.
Talk inside the cage, you hear him talking, even when he's getting hit, like, why hit me so hard?
Yeah,
he's got a fun style to watch, and he is a threat on the ground too to submit.
Yeah, he has that jiu-jitsu background a little bit. He's a black belt. And he also he also has a Kung Fu background, which I've seen. I'm not sure if it's a purple belt or black belt in jiu-jitsu, but I know he has the Kung Fu background. So Kevin Holland's just a fun guy to watch. I don't think he's ever going to be, a champion, but Owen, what do you think?
Love Kevin Holland. I think the best way to describe him is one of a kind.
Yeah.
I mean, he's super entertaining to watch. I think he's totally more well-fitted at welterweight. He was pretty small at middleweight, but he's always entertaining. He has knockouts like Jacare Souza off his back. He's got entertaining fights like against Wonderboy, where he was totally in that fight for every minute of it, right? And I think that's something that's being like Ponzinibbio in his own right is a great fighter, had a great win over Alex Morono, a comeback his last fight. But I am taking Holland here.
Me too.
I do think he's the better fighter. And I don't know that he has championship aspirations, but I do think he's got winning aspirations here. And something that also is being looked over is his 8-inch reach advantage. I mean, Holland knows how to keep a guy at distance, especially with his striking. If he can use that jab effectively, which this might go to a 3-round decision, he has the tools to effectively outpoint Ponzinibbio for 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is one of the fights that's being maybe a little underlooked. I think this is going to be a great fight. I think both the fighters are going to be exciting. You may see some ground game. You may see some really good ground game out of both of them. But I would love to see if this turns up to a grudge match up top. That's what I would really like. And what I think is truly going to be a grudge match is our next fight, Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez. And I know, Owen, I know you're like a little excited for this fight, so I'm gonna let you start off. But what do you think about this fight?
I think me and you guys, we got different takes on this fight. I think we've got different picks. I believe you guys are leaning towards Rob Font, but I'm heavy on Adrian Yanez this fight. Now I'm not one of those. I'm not super an Adrian Yanez fan. I know a lot of people are hyping him up to be the best in the division or have the best boxing in the UFC or whatever, stuff like that. I'm really not on that train yet. He's got a lot to prove this fight. But I am on the train that I think Rob Font is kind of past his prime. I think he is a bit past his days. I think Yanez is a little too fast for him. He's a little too crisp. He can fight so well inside the pocket. I don't really anticipate there being much wrestling in this fight. I think it's just going to be a striking back and forth. I don't know if it reaches the 3rd round. I am taking Adrian Yanez here. I think he wins. Could be by KO, but that's my guy right there. I think Adrian Yanez, I believe, over the main card or close to it. He's just going to put on a show. But nonetheless, don't take anything away from Rob Font. He went 5 rounds with Marlon Vera. The guy's a beast, but it's a great fight nonetheless. I am taking Adrian Yanez. What are you guys picking, though?
So, also, I am going to pick Rob Font. And the reason I'm picking Rob Font, right, if you look at his last 2 losses, Chito Vera and Jose Aldo, he's fought great competition. The guy, I don't know, something about his striking is something I really like. And I personally, in this matchup, what I think is going to be the difference is going to be the experience. You know, what's his name? Yanez is coming off the biggest win of his career in Davy Grant. I think we could both agree on that. That is his. Would you say that's his biggest win, Owen? Davy Grant?
Yeah. I think so.
When you're looking at that,
his last one was Tony Kelly, though.
Oh, okay.
His latest one was Tony Kelly when the first round KO.
But
I do think Davy Grant's a bigger name.
Yes,
yeah. I do think Davy Grant is a bigger name, though.
Mm-hmm. But the reason I'm looking at Rob so much is because Rob doesn't get finished too much. Rob is a great striker, and like I said, I think his experience. I really truly think his experience is going to help him going. I think he's going against harder opponents. He's gone through the more of a thick and thin with these very good fighters, and I think he just has the more of a championship type build currently. But I am a little bit aware of what you're saying about he's getting past his prime. So I am going to be looking at that closely. I think if Yanez can definitely catch him. But Drew, who do you got?
Right. Honestly, I like both of your guys' takes on it. It's kind of a risky fight because Yanez is dangerous, especially when he lets those hands fly. Like he has the power and he does look sharp and crisp at times. But Rob Font, when he's able to use that jab and stay rangy, I think he could have the skills and experience to be able to beat him by points. Yeah. It's a tough one for me to pick, honestly, but I'm gonna have to give Rob Font the edge. Mm-hmm. He's been in there with some of the top guys in the division. I think he's gonna be able to work the jab and keep distance and kind of make it more of his fight. And yeah, that's kind of what
that's a good take. I think this is a hard fight to pick. I truly do. I think both fighters have a very, very good chance of winning.
Right.
I don't really think you can go wrong with either one you pick. Right. And then going forward, Owen, I want you to talk about the next fight because I think the whole MMA world knows how this fight's gonna go and what we're kind of thinking. So, what do you think about the next fight?
Are we talking about? I think we might have saved the best for last. Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal is what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
That's a great fight. I'm really, really not a fan of Jorge Masvidal. Let me preface with that. But I do think he is being overlooked just a tad because the guy does have good striking. I do believe he's past his prime, I don't know if he has the power to put out Burns, but he does have good striking. I can't take that away from him. I don't think anybody can. That being said, it's Burns by domination.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Easily. All right. That's not up for dispute. Yeah. I do think it's a real fun fight. I do think there's going to be some good exchanges. I do think Burns is going to get it to the ground. And he's going to work from there. I think it might be ground and pound. He might look for a submission, or he might have something to prove. I think the feet is where it's the most dangerous because Jorge, being a bigger guy, he can find the range, catch him. I don't know that he has the power to put him out, but it's a fun fight. It's a great fight. Jorge was hinting at retirement if he can't get past Burns. I think that's something he might need to look at if he gets finished in his hometown. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it is a fun fight. I do like the fight, but I am picking Burns.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that fight?
We got Burns coming off the Neil Magny win in the first round, and then he also has that comes out Chimaev fight where it was a close fight. It was a close fight, and what I'm gonna say is what I've seen from Gilbert Burns the last two fights still shows me that he's one of the top guys in the division. I truly think so, and I think we've seen how good his striking has come, and I think his striking's right currently on the same level as Jorge Masvidal, what he's known for. I think the biggest difference is if this fight goes to the ground. I mean, if this goes to the ground, I just don't think Jorge has anything to answer for. Jorge, I just don't see him as a good grappler. I don't think many of us do, and I think that's where Gilbert comes. And I think Gilbert's overhands is something that Jorge's not going to see coming, like he didn't see Usman with the 1-2 and shoulder fucking strike. But I don't know. I really like Burns. Listen, if you're on the edge of losing all money in your account and you need an underdog play, don't pick Jorge Masvidal. That's what I'm gonna say. I wouldn't pick this fight, Drew. What do you think?
I mean, I'm gonna say probably like a Jorge Masvidal flying knee.
No, first
10
round.
seconds.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
No, I mean honestly, this realistically, while you do have to respect Jorge's hands and his boxing, he does have the striking, but I don't know if he's got quite has the power like to put Burns out, who does have a battle tested chin. I think it's just going to be a tough matchup for Jorge. I think Burns is just going to pretty much go straight, take him down, and just make it a grueling, miserable fight for Jorge, honestly.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think something we do need to think about, though, is the fact that even though he's coming off 3 straight losses, Jorge Masvidal is coming off fighting 2 of the best wrestlers in the division, who Kamaru Usman on their first fight for 5 rounds and Colby for 5 rounds really struggled to keep him down.
Yeah. And
Burns does have an overwhelming pressure, like we saw against Neil Magny. But it's no easy task to get Jorge down. And I am kind of hoping that we see Burns kind of get clipped and recover, sort of like we did in the Khamzat Chimaev fight, because I do think he needs one more win after this for a title shot. But could you imagine fully healed and chin is ready, Gilbert Burns versus Leon Edwards? I mean, that's a fight I want to see. I'm not gonna lie.
That'd be fun.
If you can make that fight somehow, that would be a real fun fight between 2 real good strikers and 2 wrestlers. But obviously, Burns does need to get through Jorge first. But I agree. If you're looking for underdogs, skip the co-main.
Yeah. I'm on the same wavelength with you, Owen. And let's just get to it. We have the champion Alex Poatan Pereira going against the defending champion, or someone who's trying to get the championship belt back, who's been in there for a while, and we all love him, Israel the Last Stylebender Adesanya. I think it's going to be a phenomenal fight, and I'm going to tell you right now what I think. I think it's going to be similar. I think Izzy's going to go up on points. Izzy's going to play how he plays. He's going to go up on points. And I don't know. It's kind of hard to call. I do think Alex retains, and I think he catches Izzy again. But that's kind of my bold take, coming from it. But when you look at this fight, Drew, just overall, like, what are you thinking? Like, what's your feel?
Man. I mean, it's definitely an exciting one. This is like, it doesn't get bigger than this. But for that first fight, that was a really interesting fight. I mean, and I had Izzy winning that fight for sure. Up until it went bad, it went really bad.
Unfortunately.
But I mean, there was also a chance where he had the opportunity to potentially get Pereira out of there.
5 more seconds.
He does have the power to really hurt him. Man, this is gonna be a good one. I'm gonna have to say no. I think
you think Izzy gets it back.
Yeah, I think Izzy's gonna be able to get it back. I think him maybe having to come for the belt is gonna be a needed change for him.
I like that.
I think we're gonna see a new style bender.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like that.
More
I like
aggressive. Maybe he will work in the ground more. Some strikes from inside the clinch. I'm really excited to see how he bounces back from that last loss.
That. Yeah, I think we all are, honestly. Owen, what do you think?
Uh, I'm still sticking with Pereira. I think he goes 4-0 if I'm being honest. I do think he just has Izzy's number. And sort of to credit you, Drew, I do think that we're going to see a new style bender. On the other hand, I think we're going to see a new Poetan. I think sort of like what happened with Leon Edwards. He saw what he can do to Izzy, and obviously he knows that from kickboxing. But now it's different in MMA. He's been training with Glover. He's been training his wrestling. And that's not to say he's going to take a wrestling heavy approach. But I do think he goes out there with a point to prove. He's going to push the pace. He's going to let those hands go for 5 rounds straight. And I do agree that Izzy has the power to put him out. We saw that in the end of the first round. But I just think that he's going to put a new level of pressure on. He's going to keep the strikes going for 5 rounds. He's got great cardio, as we saw in the first fight. I'm picking Pereira. I'm confident. And I am surprised to see he's a plus underdog in a fight where he's 3-0 already. Obviously, it's a different sport.
Right.
You can make that argument, but for me, it's 3-0 right now, and I'm going for 4, picking Pereira here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
All right.
listen, I like
All
it. I like it. I think this is another one of them where you're like, damn, 50-50 chance. Don't put all your money on your mortgage on it or anything. Right. I mean, I stay away if you want to. It's kind of a hard one to call, but that's another thing that we'll get into, because following this little try session here, we are going to have Right on Fights with Owen, who's going to break down some picks for you guys and some of his some prop bets or whatnot, wherever he wants to get into. He might even dig deep a little bit into some of the prelims and early prelims that we didn't get to today. But Owen, before we get to your segment with us, any parting words about the card that you want to tell some of the viewers?
No. I think it's definitely a card to put on at the start of the day and watch till the end of the night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to have it up on the big TV and just have it going and watching basically every fight of the night, because there is just tons of bangers here. If you haven't done your research, look into them. There's tons of great fighters, tons of great prospects, and tons of great wars coming for us on Saturday. It's great to be back. We had a week break. We're back with a banger in 305 Miami. I can't wait. Just enjoy the show. And like you said, Chase, I'll be back soon. Get you guys some money with Right on Fights, hopefully. And we'll see you guys then from me.
Thank you, Owen. We appreciate your breakdown and whatnot. Guys, stay tuned. Right on Fights will be next. Drew, thank you for being here as always. Thank you for being here as always. Guys, go buy the card. Go enjoy it. It's going to be great. All right. And thanks for everyone tuning in. Turn the post notification bell on. Go follow our socials. Comment what you guys think. If we were horrible, if we had good takes, tell me what you guys think. All right. But nonetheless, guys, see ya.